We all know people who sometimes tell us incredible stories about strange places. Some of them claim to have heard strange noises during the night, and sometimes they even talk to us about the ghosts of their past that they have seen on some days. It is very hard to believe these claims, but think about it: if strange stories are told about a place, it is still hard for you to believe these words. How eager are you to see the scary attraction? Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, there are a number of abandoned places that have scary stories to tell, and people are eager to visit. Some of these stories are about ghosts that have wandered for years and even been tortured. Join us to tell you some of the scariest attractions in the world along with their stories in this story from the Scary Enigma YouTube channel. The Island of the Dolls. Among all the people of this century, there is a common fear of clowns, spiders, and even flying, and perhaps the strangest of these is the fear of dolls. The idea of walking with soulless eyes, staggering, and wanting to kill people in their sleep are just some of the things that make dolls scary. Now think of a group of dolls instead of one doll. That these dolls are thinking of killing you in the corner of the house or in the attic or even hanging from the trees. It gets scary, doesn't it? It's good to know that there is an island in Mexico called Xochimilco where plastic dolls hang from trees. Fortunately, these dolls aren't going to follow you, so there's nothing to worry about. But the reason for the presence of these dolls is a bit scary. According to legends, a young man named Julian Santana Barrera moves to this island. After some time, he finds the body of a girl in a canal near his place of residence, with a floating doll next to her. Julian hangs the doll from the nearest tree in memory of that girl. He claimed that after hanging the doll from the tree, he heard the sound of footsteps and whispers and sometimes even the screams of a girl. Julian tries to calm the girl down by hanging more dolls, but to no avail. It is said that the girl's voices continued until Julian died in the forest. Interestingly, it is said that Julian was able to communicate with the girl's spirit. The island is now a haunted tourist attraction, with tourists claiming that the eyes of the hanging dolls follow them wherever they go. Island of the Dolls is a scary attraction in Mexico. Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Waverly Hills Hospital is located in southern Jefferson County, Kentucky, and was originally a two-story building that cared for patients with tuberculosis. Considering that Kentucky had the highest death rate from tuberculosis in the country, they decided to expand the hospital. And Waverly Hills became a five-story hospital for patients with the White Death. The reason why tuberculosis is known as the White Death is that when a person is infected with this disease, the color of his skin turns white. It is said that about 63,000 patients died here before this hospital was closed. After discovering the cure for tuberculosis, this hospital became a sanatorium. From this period, supernatural events began. Visitors to this hospital claim that sometimes strange sounds are heard from the corridors. Some also claim to have seen shadows in parts of the building. The most terrifying part of this hospital is room number 502. This room belonged to a woman who once had tuberculosis and became pregnant. He hanged himself with the lamp wire of his room. This spooky attraction is one of the scariest places in Kentucky. Chichen Itza. When you think of abandoned houses, you probably think of Victorian houses, or at least one from the last few centuries. Whether these houses might be haunted or not is not so scary, especially compared to the abandoned ruins that harbor thousands of years of ghosts. These houses are more like a joke. Ghosts who are basically sentenced to death and wandering on Earth, and some of them have been wandering for years after being tortured in this part of the Earth. Chichen Itza, which belongs to the Mayan people, is a place between life and death. The Maya people believed that death is the connection between the present life and the next life. They offered sacrifices to their gods, and human sacrifice was not something strange for them. According to tourists, the victims whose spirits are still present in this area and as if they are watching the place of their sacrifice. Several tourists who have visited different parts of the haunted attraction have claimed to have seen strange onlookers walking around the hall and heard some tribal chanting throughout the different parts. Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. A sanitarium built in 1864 in Weston later became the Weston State Hospital. This hospital was prepared to respond to 250 patients. After a period of time, the hospital was forced to admit alcoholics, drug addicts and mental patients. The number of patients in this hospital reached 2,600. The patients and staff of this hospital were constantly suffering, which seems to have other reasons besides health reasons and lack of lighting equipment. The staff of this hospital claimed to have seen the ghosts of soldiers who were in this hospital during the Civil War. Now, in addition to the spirits of soldiers, the spirits of patients and hospital staff also help make it a scary attraction. The Sultan's Palace. There are many rumors about this mansion located in New Orleans, France. This mansion was built in 1836 by a Turkish man. He claimed to be the king. After staying in this mansion for a while, the neighbors become suspicious of him. In addition to the fact that he had several wives and many children, the strange parties held in the mansion added to the neighbors' suspicions. Parties that lasted for hours and where the guests were horribly high on drugs. Also, some neighbors claimed that Sultan tortures his wives and children at night. One morning, one of the neighbors notices a trail of blood by the front door and informs the police. The arrival of the police in the house was the beginning of a nightmare. In different parts of the house, parts of the human body had fallen. The severed hand, leg and arm were rolling in blood. As the police were investigating the crime scene, they discovered Sultan's body buried alive in the yard of his house, with only Sultan's hand sticking out of the soil. The people of this neighborhood claim that the shouts of Sultan and some other members of the house can still be heard throughout this mansion. However, some people like to visit this scary attraction.